Hello, friends, reading buddies. I'm so glad you are joining me because we have got another fun, super cute Jan Brett story. We are reading through, we're doing like a little author study. We're diving into lots of cute stories by author and illustrator Jan Brett. Now, one thing I love about Jan, not only does she write stories or retell them or take an old tale and kind of twist it and make it a new version of an old tale, but she definitely works hard to bring her characters alive with the descriptive words that she uses, and her illustrations are just so detailed and wonderful and colorful. One of her techniques is to use paints and watercolor paints in particular with a dry brush, where she doesn't use a lot of water. She gets a little bit of moisture and then she uses a stroke called a dry brush stroke. Well, we've read several cute stories together. Today we're going to get to know a very new character, a hedgehog character, Hedgie, the hedgehog. Now, I do know that Jan, at one time, I don't know if she still does, but she did have a hedgehog pet at her house. The thing about Jan, too, is that she does a lot of research with her stories. She takes the time to travel and investigate. Even though she's writing fiction, she wants her characters and the setting and the time that she's writing the stories to be realistic and to be real. So she had a pet hedgehog, I know, at her house, and several of her stories include a hedgehog character. Today we are going to have a fun story about a hedgehog who has quite the interesting day. It involves a hedgehog and a so-called hat. Now, the one thing I love about winter, which I don't love that much about winter because it's so cold, is choosing a hat. I love that there are so many different kinds of hats, and I have a collection, of course, of different kinds of winter caps. How about you? In today's story, this cute hedgehog is going to meet up with some friends. The name of the story is The Hat. Now, you know, with Jan's stories, there's a lot going on with the illustrations. So we not only have to pay attention to what's going on in the main pictures and illustrations, but also the little windows. I call them like peekaboo windows. Now, let's make a prediction. What do you think is going to happen today in the story, The Hat? Of course, you know it's going to involve a hat. And I did tell you that one of the main character is this hedgehog. Now think before we start reading. What do you think might happen today to the hedgehog and of the story, in the story, The Hat? I like to guess. And then, you know, as I make a guess about what I think might happen in the story, The Hat, then I'm kind of looking at the illustrations on the cover for sure. I'm thinking it's going to take place maybe on a farm or in a barnyard, because there's lots of animals around that look like they might live on a farm. And there's the hedgehog. He doesn't really live on a farm. He's more of a wild animal. But there's something on the little hedgehog's head. It looks like a sock, a very warm sock. So if I'm predicting, and the name of the story is The Hat, then I'm thinking that maybe in this story, the hedgehog goes to town and buys a hat, possibly. Well, it is fiction. But what's going to happen in the adventure of the hat? Do you think these animals are going to love the hat? Or Make fun of the hat? It's always fun to think about what might happen. And then I love to adjust my predictions as I go along. If I make predictions or make judgments or think about what might happen, as I'm looking at the illustrations and I'm reading the words, I kind of adjust and shift or agree with myself and say, yeah, it is happening the way that I thought. Most of the time, there's always some surprises, and with Jan Brett, you know you're going to find some fun and adventure. So, cozy up, find a comfortable spot, and let's get started in the story, The Hat, and see what happens to the hedgehog with the hat. Here we go. Oop, his hat fell off. Jan Brett, The Hat. Here is the first little page. There's nothing on it, but you can see there's the hedgehog. A gray looking guy. And I'm going to put on the reading glasses so I can see these wonderful words. Again, you've got those little window clues on the side. It looks like picture frames. There's some socks, and there's a hat. It definitely is taking place in maybe the woods. Looks like a little village. I love that the stories so far that we've read of Jan Brett, they're taking place more a long time ago in little villages, probably in faraway lands. And of course, Jan has traveled to a lot of places to do her research. I love that a fiction writer can always gain knowledge, get a vision of what life was like, and find out about traditions and culture as she travels. That's really important. Puts a lot of life in the stories. Here is the title page, information about the story. There's those cute little windows. We got a scarf, and it looks like some mittens. And here's a girl. Looks like she's digging in to a trunk. You know, people used to store their clothing in trunks over seasons so they could be protected and safe. So let's find out what happens. Winter was on the way. Lisa took her woolen clothes out of the chest and carried them outside. I guess they've been in storage for a while. So she's going to take them outside. Winter's coming. It's not here yet. But you got to prep for these things. Animals prep for winter. And people have to prep for winter. They have to get ready. Now, one more thing to think about in this story. At the top, Jan Brett has included some clues at the top also. So we have to spy to the left, spy to the right and left, spy to the top, and then in the middle. There's Lisa. It looks like she's putting her winter clothes on a clothesline. Now, a long time ago, before people had dryers, they wanted to freshen up their clothes or dry their wet clothes. They had to hang them outside in the sunshine, in the breeze. That's how they dried their clothes. I'm kind of glad we have clothes dryers now. But it is fun, and the air is fresh too. So we got a basket where she's taking her clothes outside. And then there's the hedgehog. And there's one sock hanging over. She was hanging them up in the fresh air when a strong wind blew one of her stockings off the line. So there it goes. It's flying through the air. The wind is blowing it, but she's so busy hanging the clothes up that she doesn't notice. And look who's over here. I'm thinking about predicting, and I'm thinking about guessing. Where do you think that sock is going to land? See how we can think about the story as we go along and adjust. There we go. There's the beautiful hedgehog with all his little prickles. There is this colorful sock. We've got Lisa going into the house. She doesn't notice that one of the socks is blown off. And then there's a hen. At the top, you've got all the clothes blowing in the breeze on the clothesline. There's a lot of busyness going on, but we can handle it because we know how Jan Brett sets up her illustrations. It looks like Hedgie's going inside of it. Let's see. Curious Hedgie found it and poked his nose in it. When he pulled it out, the stocking was stuck on his prickles. Because you know, hedgehogs have little prickly fur. I've never actually seen a hedgehog in person. I might have to go maybe to a pet store or somewhere and check one out. But definitely Jan Brett checked it out because she knew it had prickles. How embarrassing, Hedgie thought. So he didn't mean to, but he got stuck in the sock with his prickly outer hair, outer skin. And then I see a hen, so I'm thinking that's what's coming up next. Do you think it's going to be like the story The Mitten? Do you think all the animals are going to get inside? That's what I thought at first. However, Jan already wrote that story. So something different is going to take place. Let's find out. There's all the busyness. There's the hen. I love how up close. Hen's got her little chickies. Over here, we've got Lisa. She's working on something inside of the house. Looks like she's prepping some more for winter, getting her blanket out. You've got Goosey Lucy over here. And then let's see what's going on in the middle. And if you notice at the top, there's the clothesline. There's a reason, there's a clue up there. What do you think it is? Let's find out. The mother hen came by with her chicks. Cackle, cackle. She clucked and laughed. What's that on your head, Hedgie? Why, it's my new hat, he told her. Isn't it beautiful? I love how he handles the laughter, even though they're probably friends. The mother hen cocked her head as if she had an idea, and off she ran. So Hedgie is embarrassed, but he's not letting it get him down. He keeps traveling on. All of a sudden, you know who's coming up next, and that clue was Goose. Goosey Lucy. There's Goose. Let's look and see what's going on. You've got Lisa working on a bird feeder because, of course, you have to prep everything for winter. And feeding the birds is definitely, it's hard for them to find food, so she's getting a bird feeder. Over here, coming next, the next character is going to be Cat. And there's a confrontation with Hedgie and the goose. And notice there's missing items on the clothesline. Clue. Do you know what's missing? Hedgie saw the noisy gander looking down at him. Ho, ho, ho. The gander laughed. Ho, 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 ho. Look at that. The hedgehog has flipped his gizzard. That's like a funny expression like, goo-goo. Laugh today, gander, but tomorrow when it rains, my hat will keep my head dry. The gander thought for a moment, and off he ran. You know, if you don't let things get you down, even when others don't approve of what you like or what you're wearing, you can still be confident, and maybe you might have some influence. Notice the little speckles of white snow falling. Remember, winter's coming. And you know who's up next. Meow. Let's see what happens when Hedgie meets up with the cats. It's definitely a farmyard for sure. Now Lisa's in the kitchen and she's getting a cup of hot tea because it's definitely snowing now. Winter is arriving. Snow is on the ground. It's getting colder. And looks like a dog might be coming up next, but let's find out what happens with the cat. Wait a minute. Let me check out the situation at the top on the clothesline. And I see a little birdhouse over here. There's definitely clothespins and no clothes. Some are missing. Can you remember what was there and now is missing? Interesting. Cat's up in the tree looking down at Hedgie, who is, I think, trying to get the sock hat off. The barn cat was watching from a tree as Hedgie tugged at the stocking. Meow, he called down. What a silly looking hedgehog you are. Meow. With that thing on your head. But my ears will be warm in a snowstorm. Purred the cat, and off he ran. I love Hedgie's confidence. Even in the midst of being a little embarrassed and having a problem of something stuck on your prickles, he's not letting the barnyard crew get him down. And maybe he's making a difference with that confidence of his. There's Lisa. She's going to the barn. Got to take care of your animals if you have a farm in the winter and prep them. There's the clothesline. It's getting empty. Oh no, what will Lisa do without her winter stuff? Oh no. And it looks like upcoming next will be a pig, but let's deal with the dog first. The farm dog and her puppies found Hedgie in a patch of brambles. That's a thorny plant. I think Hedgie's still trying to pull off. If Hedgie can find something more prickly than its prickles, maybe it can get off that sock. Hedgie, is that a hat you're wearing? You funny, how funny you look, she barked. And her puppies yelped and giggled. I can just hear it. But I don't think they're really being mean. They're just kind of like, you ever see something on somebody and you just kind of laugh. It's kind of silly looking. But this is Hedgie's response, which I love. In confidence, Hedgie says, but I'll be cozy and dry when it snows, Hedgie said. The farm dog's ears perked up and off she ran. Definitely seeing lots of missing items. And the animals are all getting clues, getting ideas. Oh boy. Now, let's continue. Lisa's reading a good book. In the winter, it's fun to cozy up with a good book. She's reading a good book on the farm while it snows. The pigs are in the barn taking a look at Hedgie and the so-called cat. And up next will be a horse. And look at how sparse the clothesline is. It's definitely missing lots of items. Let's find out what the pigs think about this interesting hat. Oink, oink, the piglet squealed. Oink, 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 oink. Trying to be my best pig sound. Not too good at it. What are you up to, Hedgie? The mama pig asked. Making sure my hat doesn't fall off if an icy wind blows up. Again with the confidence. Has an answer for all the animals. I see, said Mama Pig. And off she ran. Where do you think she's going? Clothesline, maybe? Horse is up next. All the barnyard animals are in on the adventure. Lisa, meanwhile, is up out of her chair. Horse is outside. It's definitely snowed and the snow is on the ground, so it's cold. Lisa's looking out the window, checking the situation out, and there's Hedgie. Hedgie, what is that ridiculous thing on your head? The pony snorted. Well, that sounds more like a pig. Nay, that's a horse sound. Never give up on yourself. That's what I always say. He snorted at Hedgie. That was the last straw. If it's the last straw, that's an old way of saying, I'm done. I'm done with this mess. I'm done. I'm not going to deal with this anymore. It's my hat, of course. Don't you know that everyone should wear a hat in winter when it's cold and snowy? Hedgie shouted. He's just done with being calm. Oh boy. The clothesline is almost empty. Yikes. Where did everything go? The pony looked startled. He wasn't expecting that. Hedgie was usually so friendly, and off he ran. Galloping, galloping, galloping. You know where he's going. Clothesline. Meanwhile, Lisa is getting her coat. You know where she's going? She's got to go get her things off the line. They've aired out enough. She heads toward the clothesline, which is a little bit from her home. There's Hedgie. Oh boy, he's really in a mess. Hedgie just wanted to be alone. You know, after a while, if people they don't really mean to make fun of you, but sometimes even your friends say things that kind of just bother you, and it's hard to deal with sometimes, and you just need to be alone. You're just done with it. He was tired of everyone laughing at him. He was brave, though. And with this thing on his head, he wouldn't even fit in his den. And of course, he needs to get underground. It's cold. It's wintertime. Lisa's on the way to the clothesline, and nothing is there. Hedgie is in a mess. Let me think. Lisa's headed to the clothesline. You think she's going to be surprised when she gets there? For sure. Do you think she's going to meet up? You know, that sock hat is covering Hedgie's whole face. He is in a quandary. Do you think she is going to meet up with Hedgie? It's always fun to change, adjust, and think about what's happening as the story goes along. You become involved. You become part of the story. It makes it fun. Oh boy. There we go. There's Lisa there's the hen over there. And the hen has looks like maybe a glove? Yeah, glove. Lisa is running through the woods, snowy as it is, with the other sock. And Hedgie is running with a sock on his and a missing sock. And then there's the goose with her sweater. Yikes. He didn't see Lisa running after him, the other stocking in her hand. Come back, you silly hedgehog, she called. Oh no, Hedgie thought. Even the girl's laughing at me. He's just having one of those days. But I think Lisa wants to help, and she wants her sock back too. Oh, look at her smile. You know, she's friendly. Nothing's on the clothesline. We've got the cat with the scarf. I love it. This story was just so cute. The dog is with it looks like a sweater, another sweater. Lisa caught up and pulled off her stocking off of Hedgie's head. Thank goodness. She saved the day. You ridiculous little hedgehog, she laughed. Like, she's saying it in a cute way, like, you cute little hedgehog. You just look ridiculous. Don't you know that animals don't wear clothes? I've seen dogs wearing clothes, have you? I think that's definitely changed over time. She's sweet. She takes off the stocking and she heads to the clothesline. Maybe it's getting dark. You can tell the day is over. It's very snowy. Off she goes. Let's see what happens next. Pig has something on its snout. It looks like maybe the scarf. And the horse also has another item over here. Hedgie headed for his den. Whew. He was glad that was over. And Lisa started back toward the clothesline. She's got to get him in, right? For all the clothes. That's when she saw all of her missing woolens. So the items back a long time ago were knitted and made into a really thick yarn called wool, and it was so warm. It was the warmest of all cloths for sure. All of your clothes back then, now that wool is kind of scratchy because it's very warm. As she heads back, she gets a big surprise. Look at this. Look at that line of animals. Oh my goodness. Horse has got a scarf. Pig's got a vest on. It looks like the dog has a beautiful sweater. Cat has a scarf. Well, this is a sweater too, I think. And Goose has the real hat. And Hen has the glove hat. Now, why do you think those animals are wearing those clothes for winter? Might they have been inspired by Hedgie? You know it. So, I love how Hedgie was influential and confident, even though it had been one of those days. He inspired. The animals had taken them, and each one was thinking, now I am wearing a magnificent hat. They wanted to be like Hedgie. Hey, it could happen. Definitely in a make-believe story. Hedgie is over to the side. Here's your little peekaboo window. Sitting and thinking. There's the other picture, the first picture. He looks like he's yawning. He's ready to go to sleep. Some animals sleep in the winter. They are having a fashion parade for sure around the barnyard. I don't know what in the world Lisa's going to do to get her woolens back. She's got to do it. These animals have been inspired to get dressed for the winter. I don't think they're going to be making fun of Hedgie anytime soon. And Hedgie's settled in for his long winter's nap. Lisa was still chasing them when Hedgie reached his den. And here's what Hedgie said. I love this ending. Going in the den. And he says, how ridiculous. That means how silly and inappropriate. Totally ridiculous. This is crazy. How ridiculous they look. Don't they know? Animals should never wear clothes. The end. I love it. So, who had the last laugh? Definitely Hedgie. And I don't know what's going to become of Lisa and all her clothes. She's definitely going to have to rein in the animals and get those woolens back. Quite the adventure. And so cute. Another great story by wonderful author and illustrator Jan Brett. I want you to check this one out. If you've not read it, head to the library, see if you can check out the book The Hat. Maybe your school library has it. Definitely, it probably does. This is a popular book. Public library, you can order it definitely online. There's lots of places to get this for sure. Well, I have had fun. I'm going to put this little hedgehog's glove hat back on. How fashionable. Now, that was a fun adventure and definitely a surprise ending. So, until our next time together, I want you to get busy and get onto your hat collection. I definitely am choosing some different hats each day that I go out. I like these with these pom-poms on there. This one I love because it's sparkly. So go have an adventure. I don't suggest that you wear a shirt, a sweater, or a sock on your head to school. We've got the ability to get some hats, so that might be our good fashion statement, but I want you to check out some good hats and good books, and join me again for another great Jan Brett story. Look what's coming up next. We've got our character, Hedgie, but this time the story is titled Hedgie's Surprise. And it doesn't take place in the winter, but it does take place on a barnyard. And there's a mischievous character in this one. So join me for another great story. And until we meet again, have a hat adventure, stay warm, and be confident in the hat you select. As always, I can't wait to read together again and have a good one.